The American empire is coming to an end. The US economy is being drained by wars in the Middle East and vast military expansion across the globe. America is burdened by growing deficits, along with the devastating effects of deindustrialization and global trade agreements. American democracy has been captured and destroyed by corporations that steadily demand more tax cuts, more deregulation, and immunity from prosecution for massive financial fraud, all the while loosing trillions from the US Treasury in the form of bailouts. America has lost the power and respect needed to induce allies in Europe, Latin America, Asia, and Africa to do its bidding. Add to this the mounting destruction caused by climate change, and you have a recipe for an emerging dystopia. Overseeing this descent, at the highest levels of the federal and state governments, is a motley collection of imbeciles, con artists, thieves, opportunists, and warmongering generals. The American empire will limp along, steadily losing influence, until the dollar is dropped as the world reserve currency, plunging the United States into a crippling depression, and instantly forcing a massive contraction of their military machine. Short of a sudden and widespread popular revolt, which does not seem likely, the death spiral is unstoppable. The United States as we know it will no longer exist within a decade. The global vacuum America leaves behind will be filled by China, already establishing itself as an economic and military juggernaut. In April 2015, the US Department of Agriculture predicted that the American economy would grow by nearly 50% over the next 15 years, while China's economy is predicted to triple and will surpass America by 2030. China became the world's second largest economy in 2010 and became the world's leading manufacturing nation, pushing aside United States, who dominated the world's manufacturing for a century. The Department of Defense issued a sober report, DoD Risk Assessment, in a post-primacy world, and found that the US military, and I quote, no longer enjoys an unassailable position versus state competitors, and it no longer can automatically generate consistent and sustained local military superiority at range. McCrory predicts the collapse will come by 2030. Empires in decay embrace an almost willful suicide, blinded by their hubris, and are unable to face the reality of their diminishing power. They retreat into a fantasy world, where hard and unpleasant facts no longer intrude. They replace diplomacy, multilateralism, and politics with unilateral, bombastic threats and the blunt instrument of war. This collective self-delusion saw the United States make the greatest strategic blunder in its history. One that sounded the death knell of the empire. The invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq. The architects of the war, and the George W. Bush White House, and the array of useful idiots in the press and academia, who were cheerleaders for it, knew very little about the countries being invaded, and were stunningly naive about the effects of industrial warfare, and were blindsided by the ferocious blowback